I am truly happy for Polaris and how far they've come as a band in the recent couple of years. Starting off as another unknown Aussie metalcore band with big dreams, moving on to touring with Parkway Drive, and now releasing their second LP, The Death of Me, which, coincidentally, we are going to talk about right now. But first, I would like to shout out my tier 2 patrons from the last month, the man himself and Ibrahim Tovataj, as well as anyone in tier 1. You guys helped this channel out in a very big way, so thank you very much. Back to the video. To me, Polaris kinda reminds me of Wage War in a way. Similarities are striking because both bands have a pretty quick rise to fame, received a lot of praise from the community for their debut LPs. For the most part, were or are still considered as the next big thing in the genre. The big difference, however, is that Wage War is already sitting on their third LP, released in last year. Polaris has only come out with their second one just now. Another big difference is that Wage War has kind of fallen off for me with the album Pressure. They went from playing generic metalcore to playing generic just rock music, while Polaris has tried to consistently stay within this progressive metalcore realm with vibes from North Lane or Era. Kicking off with a bit more standard and pop-punkish Masochist, which was still a good song. Then continuing with Hypermania, which was a hell of a song for such a short song, and then finalized it with Landmine, which in my opinion features probably the best breakdown of this record. I was excited, you were excited, everyone is excited. This is the case where I genuinely was rooting for the band to release the best possible work they could have, and well, this is kind of a banger. Album kicks us off with a first song of the album, Pray for Rain, which starts off fairly slow, fairly emotional, truly the best way one could open an album such as this. This song then turns everything around a couple of times, setting us in the perfect right mood for the rest of the album. Great opener for a very promising record. Skipping over all the singles that I mentioned before, Vagabond is our next song. This one is a slightly softer one, but in case of Polaris, softer means still heavier than pretty much everything on latest Wage War album. Energy and jumpiness absolutely prevails in Vagabond. Really good chorus, really good pace, awesome drops. This one's also upbeat, so it's kind of a happy song. It has a nice happy guitar solo. What else do you need? Creatures of Habit is crushing our faces with easily best riff of the album, super proggy, super fast. Energy and brutality once again are the main focus of this song. But the most surprising thing about this one is the chorus. Probably among my most favorite choruses on this album, with this awesome lead action and pretty cool chord progression. This is just a really, really solid song with a lot of variety in it. Above My Head sets everything a little back. It's a slightly softer approach. Still features a really good and flowy lead riff. Chorus stands out because it's very catchy and very fun, as is the overall song. Martyr, brackets Waves, absolutely breaks everything apart and puts us in this very calm, emotional, and slow ballad. Beautiful rhythm, beautiful bass tone, beautiful voice, great chorus, really, really good, heart-wrenching bridge. To better describe this, it's as if Polaris wrote a ballad song. All of this is fleeting, has another amazing riff, and once again sends the heaviness back a little bit in favor of a more emotional sound, which absolutely works with this one. No complaints whatsoever. Really, really great chorus melody. One of my favorites of the whole album. The overall motif of the song is also really, really good. And then The Descent is one of those songs that is going to be put into metalcore textbooks as an example of a perfect album closer. Dramatic sound comes into this one and never leaves it. It stays there all the way throughout. Emotional chorus is also here, obviously, as well as really heavy breakdown with a really dramatic and heavy sound. But what really makes this song special to me and makes it stand out among all of the other songs of this album is that little instrumental break, which in my opinion adds so much depth and character to the already great experience of listening to this album. So in my opinion, the way it ends the song with a dramatic breakdown is just a perfect way to close this album, as was Pray for Rain a perfect way to open it. The Death of Me has came to be one of the most impressive works in the modern metalcore scene. The band stayed true to their sound while still bringing a lot of refreshing and interesting things into their sound, like really creative chord progression, like a lot more vocal variety. It just really surprised me with how flowy and seamless the experience of listening to this album was. Also, another really important thing to point out is, lyrics have not been forgotten. This is still a very lyric-heavy album with a lot of interesting lyrics. Some of the songs are really deep and really have interesting thoughts in them, and I would say I'd quite enjoyed the lyrical part of this album as much as the instrumental. This album is a gem, a really valuable and unique gem. The Death of Me is refreshing, it's fun, it's heavy, it's brutal, it's sad, and profound. It's just an overall amazing record. Does it compare to Immortal Coil? Of course it does. In my opinion, it even has a slight edge over that album, but that's just my opinion. I can't really explain what makes it better, just because both albums are pretty good and pretty different in their own ways. I would go as far as to say that it wouldn't be wrong to call The Death of Me their best work yet. So that's exactly what I'm gonna do. The Death of Me by Polaris is their best work yet. A very solid 8.867 out of 10 for The Death of Me by Polaris.